So to commemorate the kickoff of Phase 2 of Climate Change National Forum, we're kind of running around different booths and asking different organizations the question of what can or should be done about climate change as a nation. I'm here with Scott Schang, the acting president of the Environmental Law Institute, which is a legacy institution that's involved in the courts and litigation on the climate change front. And I was hoping if you could just talk to us about kind of what's the current state of climate change regulation in the state right now. Does ELI have an answer to what can or should be done, and other efforts that y'all are doing on this front?
Sure. So Environmental Law Institute is a nonpartisan institute that does not lobby or litigate. We bring people together to talk about finding common solutions across all different divides, be it science and law or Republican, Democrat. And we think there's a lot going on right now, which is really positive. So at the federal level, you asked about regulation. What's called the CAFE standards, which were the car standards that reduced the MPG, the miles per gallon, have made a huge climate impact. The Obama administration also has the Clean Power Plan, which is trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions as well. It's using the Clean Air Act, which wasn't really designed to do this, so it's quite difficult. But there's a lot of efforts going on around the country and around the world that we're involved in. We're helping communities understand how to site renewable power. We're looking at subsidies of both green and brown power. How much subsidies go to coal and oil? How many subsidies go to renewables?
How much subsidies go to coal and oil?
70% of the subsidies in our country go to coal and oil. And 30% go to renewables, half of which go to foreign-grown ethanol, which has a questionable environmental impact. So when you look at subsidies, the question is this doing what we really want to do? We don't take a position as an institute, but we want people to know the information.
It's since you mentioned the kind of an imperfect vehicle of the Clean Air Act. The Supreme Court said carbon dioxide is a pollutant, because it's such a broad definition. EPA, you have to regulate it. Clean Air Act is the law that Congress wrote.
Right.
What are the pitfalls of it, and what would be better than that?
Well, the Supreme Court told EPA they had to make a decision whether to regulate, and EPA decided that they did under the Clean Air Act and should regulate.
The endangerment finding.
Right. They did that, which is so we have a lot of policy options to use. A lot of people think that a carbon tax would make a lot of sense. When you think about what's happening with carbon, we're using resources, we're using coal, we're using gas, which are doing amazing things for our economy. But there's something called an externality when you use that. Carbon's given off, and no one has to pay for that.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is we're polluting the environment. We're using something, but not paying for it. And there's an argument that we should pay for that, right? I mean, if I'm going to sit there and use water, is it always free? We know in Texas that it's not always free. That water has a real cost to it. And if you're going to use it, you should pay for it.
But you used, carbon, tax. How do you get Republicans to confront this issue?
Well, you say tax is really about taking care of an inefficiency in the market. The market's not taking care of the inefficiencies in the sense that we're taking and burning coal. I burn coal to get power from my house, and it causes the atmosphere to change. And as a result, my neighbor bears cost because his land gets degraded. There's all kinds of climate effects. Well, why should I make him bear my cost? That's not fair. I think any American agrees with that. So if you take a tax, it's a way of actually making the market work better and making the market work the way it should work. So if you believe in a free market, if you believe that markets are the answer, then you want a market that works efficiently and fairly. That's what a carbon tax tries to do. It's a really complex question how to design it well. We don't claim to know the exact right answer on that.
What's the right price?
Right. Exactly.
How is that going to work?
And if you collect the tax, who gets the benefits? Does it go back to the people? Because a carbon tax could be very regressive, which means poor folks for whom their prices would go up have little money to pay for that. So there has to be a way to make it not regressive.
Folks in the rural communities too that drive around a lot.
Exactly. There's a lot of policy questions involved in that, which we as a country should have a dialogue about. And that's what ELI believes, and we should get people together and talk about it. We don't claim there's one right solution. We don't claim to have that solution. But we think Americans are the most innovative people on the planet. That's what we do. And we can innovate our ways out of this. We can do it.
Well, we welcome that dialogue on
Thanks,
Climate
Michael.
Change National
Good
Forum.
luck with all you're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Sure.